Amidst the dense Vietnamese jungle, 20 paratroopers from the 173rd Airborne Brigade faced a dire situation, outnumbered and surrounded by the Viet Cong. The oppressive heat and humidity, coupled with the foreboding jungle canopy, created an almost surreal battlefield. These young soldiers, senses razor-sharp, had to rely on the slightest rustle of leaves or the faintest scent carried by the wind to anticipate the enemy's stealthy approach. This was not just a battle against a numerically superior foe, but a battle against the very elements of nature that cloaked their adversary. The Battle of Dak, to unfold it over several days, with U.S. forces engaged in a series of intense firefights against the well-entrenched NVA troops. The enemy was elusive, moving swiftly and silently through the underbrush, launching surprise assaults from concealed positions. For the young American soldier and his comrades, this was a trial by fire, a test of their courage and tactical acumen. They had to adapt quickly, learning to anticipate the enemy's movements and counter their strategies. Despite the overwhelming odds, the small band of paratroopers demonstrated remarkable resilience. They forged a brotherhood in the heat of battle, a bond formed through shared adversity and a mutual commitment to each other's safety. This unity was their strength, enabling them to hold their ground and fight back with determination. As the battle raged on, air support and reinforcements helped tilt the balance in favor of the U.S. forces. The soldiers of the 173rd Airborne, together with their allies from the 4th Infantry Division, managed to repel the NVA onslaught, securing a hard-fought victory. But the cost was steep, with many brave young men making the ultimate sacrifice. These 20 paratroopers, trained for unpredictability, found themselves in a relentless test of adaptability. As the Viet Cong swarmed around them, they swiftly recalibrated their strategies, setting up impromptu ambush points and utilizing the terrain to their advantage. Each paratrooper became a master of improvisation, turning fallen trees into cover and using the jungle's deceptive calm to mask their movements. Their ability to think on their feet under extreme pressure was not just a testament to their training, but a critical factor in their survival. The makeshift fortifications they crafted were more than just physical barriers. They were manifestations of their resilience and determination to hold their ground. Utilizing whatever materials were at hand, be it earth, fallen trees, or abandoned equipment, these paratroopers transformed their surroundings into defensive strongholds. These improvised defenses not only provided physical protection, but also boosted the morale of the soldiers, fortifying their resolve in the face of the enemy onslaught. The paratroopers' small arms became their lifeline, each M16 rifle and M60 machine gun firing not just bullets, but bursts of hope. In a particularly harrowing moment, when a group of Viet Cong attempted to overrun their position, the paratroopers laid down a withering hail of gunfire, repelling the assault and proving that their will to fight was as potent as their weaponry. It was their strategic positioning and disciplined fire that turned the tide, creating a buffer of safety amid the chaos. Air support, too, played a pivotal role in the American defense strategy. Fighter jets and helicopters became angels of death from above, swooping in to unleash their fury on NVA positions. These aerial assaults were not just about inflicting casualties, they were psychological weapons, sowing fear and confusion among the enemy ranks. Communication was the glue that held this complex defense together. Radios crackled with constant updates, relaying vital information about enemy movements and friendly positions. This network of voices was the lifeline for small units, enabling them to act as cohesive units despite the chaos surrounding them. The ability to call in support and direct fire effectively turned isolated skirmishes into coordinated efforts, amplifying the impact of each soldier's actions. As the Viet Cong moved like wraiths through the underbrush, their sudden, silent strikes were met with the paratroopers' cunning counter-tactics. Having quickly learned the enemy's patterns, the paratroopers set traps of their own, using decoys and controlled retreats to lead the Viet Cong into killing zones. Their intimate knowledge of the terrain allowed them to predict and disrupt the enemy's pathways, turning the Viet Cong's stealth against them. The jungles of Vietnam were not mere backdrops to the conflict, they were active participants. The Viet Cong used this terrain to its fullest, turning the dense foliage and rugged landscapes into fortresses of stealth. They moved like phantoms, their presence often felt but rarely seen, striking with swift ferocity and then vanishing into the underbrush. This ability to strike and disappear undermined the morale of their enemies, creating an omnipresent threat that lingered like a specter over the battlefield. The paratroopers soon discovered the eerie network of tunnels used by the Viet Cong, a revelation that shifted their tactics. Recognizing the threat and opportunity these tunnels presented, they devised a risky but ingenious plan. Selecting a few brave men to enter the tunnels and plant explosives, they turned these subterranean labyrinths into traps for the Viet Cong, effectively using the enemy's own infrastructure against them. Booby traps and landmines added a psychological dimension to their warfare, turning the jungle into a treacherous maze of hidden dangers. The constant threat of an unseen, premature death wore down the resolve of their adversaries, turning every step into a potential last. These traps were not just physical obstacles, they were tools of terror designed to instill fear and hesitation. The weaponry of the Viet Cong was a diverse arsenal, a mix of the old and the new, the borrowed and the improvised. Captured American weapons, Soviet-made AK-47s, and indigenous designs like the B-40 rocket provided them with a versatile array of firepower. This eclectic collection of arms was a testament to their resourcefulness and adaptability, enabling them to engage their enemies on multiple fronts with a variety of tactics. The battle for Hill 875 was not just a confrontation, it was a crucible where the American strategy of overwhelming firepower and the Viet Cong's guerrilla tactics clashed in a brutal symphony. This hill, shrouded in the smoke of battle and the cries of the fallen, became a microcosm of the Vietnam War's broader conflict. As Companies C and D of the 173rd 2nd Battalion ascended the steep slopes, they stepped into a storm of violence. The air was thick with the smell of gunpowder and blood, punctuated by the relentless crackle of gunfire and the shattering explosions of grenades. "Get up the goddamn hill" was more than a command. It was a desperate plea, a call to overcome not just the enemy, but the very limits of human endurance. Amid the chaos, a devastating friendly fire incident struck a crushing blow to the paratroopers' morale. As they reeled from the confusion and loss, their resolve was put to the ultimate test. In the aftermath, they regrouped with a steely determination, their resolve hardened by the tragedy. They understood the stakes were higher than ever. It wasn't just about survival anymore, but honoring the memory of their fallen brothers by holding their ground against all odds. The paratroopers and soldiers of the 173rd, outgunned and surrounded, fought with a spirit that went beyond mere duty. Their unyielding resolve, even in the darkest moments, significantly impaired the enemy's capabilities. This fierce determination prevented several NVA regiments from joining the 1968 Tet Offensive, a strategic impact that resonated beyond the immediate battle. In a military sense, the fighting at Dak To was a victory for the Allied forces. Objectives were taken, and the enemy suffered heavy losses. However, the true cost was measured in the lives of those who fought and died on that hill. The Battle of Dak To left an indelible mark on the landscape and the hearts of those who survived. It was a brutal lesson in the complexities of modern warfare, a chapter where strategy, resilience, and the human spirit collided with devastating force. The echoes of Hill 875 and Dak To reverberate through history, a somber reminder of the sacrifices made in the jungles of Vietnam. As we reflect on these events, we honor the bravery and sacrifice of those 20 paratroopers and all who stood with them. Their story, a blend of courage, tragedy, and tactical ingenuity, is a poignant chapter in the annals of military history, a testament to the enduring spirit of those who face insurmountable odds for their comrades and their nation.